When you first walk down the aisle, tons of people give you marriage tips like never go to bed angry and remember that you're on the same team. Of course, during the honeymoon stage, that advice for a long, successful marriage doesn't seem very pressing. But with the rising number of couples over 50 calling it quits, these gray divorces now account for 25% of splits. It seems harder than ever to make a marriage really last until death do you part. So, what do those couples who do manage to make their unions last for decades know about love that the rest of us don't? From the small gestures that keep the romance alive to tips on overcoming the challenges most couples face, we've gathered the best marriage tips from those who've stuck it out for half a century. Let your partner know you're thinking about them throughout the day. And let them express their feelings first. Instead of always letting your partner know exactly how you're feeling first, make space for them to express themselves before you start sharing. Accept your partner just for who they are. Just accept their strengths and weaknesses that make them unique and that you love them for that. Just because your relationship gets rocky from time to time doesn't mean you and your spouse aren't a good match. Just try imagining life without them and you'll realize how important they are to you. Sometimes, when I have a couple in counseling who are either antagonistic toward one another or apathetic, I tell them, think about that you may not have tomorrow with the one you love, says Palmer. When you love each other, you commit to make the bumpy road of life smoother together. Making your spouse feel loved sometimes means more than just listening to their wants and needs. Physical affection is important, too. Before you turn in for the evening, make sure you and your spouse are on the same page about the disagreements you had earlier in the day. Enjoy one another's company. With work, social commitments, and other family members competing for your time, it may be difficult to allocate one-on-one time with your spouse. But making a point to do so, and enjoying it, can make your relationship stronger in the long run. Maintain a friendship in your relationship. As your relationship progresses, don't forget to maintain your friendship along with the romantic side of your relationship. Best friends are there for each other, support each other, and like to have fun together. We often take time to make things fun, or enjoy the moment. If a good song comes on at home, we'll stop and dance. We go to the movies and for walks. Self-care is important, and performing those restorative acts with your partner can often make your relationship stronger along the way. Take any opportunity to spend time together. Laugh at yourself and at each other, suggests Barbara. Laugh with each other. Just because you want to spend time away from your partner doesn't mean you love or cherish them any less. I met my wife and asked her to marry me 3 days later. Seeking outside help is still a bit taboo in some circles where people assume marriage counseling insinuates their relationship is weak. We went to a marriage counselor at one point because we were going in different directions and needed professional help. You always have to keep working on the relationship. Sometimes, people have an idealized view of marriage and think that one fight means the end is near. The secret to a happy, loving marriage? Knowing that you're in it together, as a team, no matter what either of you face individually. Once you're married, everything should be faced together. Marry someone who is fun to be with. Then throughout your marriage, say yes to each other, suggests Clark. Your spouse isn't likely to change just because you got married, so it's important to know what your deal breakers are before you walk down the aisle. I think that maintaining physical attractiveness is also important, Lewis adds. I don't mean just in a superficial way. Being attractive to your spouse means multiple things, like trying to stay in shape by working out. This has the added benefit of keeping one's mental attitude strong and positive. Throwing out the D word in arguments, or even thinking that this fight might be your last one, will inevitably cause tension in your marriage that you may be unable to fix. Never go into an argument thinking that it could be the end of the relationship, the McKees advise. That means speaking your mind, but not saying or doing anything that is not recoverable. Healthy marriages are not always smooth, but should always be respectful. Celebrate one another just because. You shouldn't wait for holidays or anniversaries to celebrate all the wonderful things you love about your spouse. I have always celebrated birthdays, anniversaries, and it simply being a Wednesday on what started as a crazy work week, says Carol G., author of Random Notes About Life, Stuff and Finally Learning to Exhale, who has been married for 47 years. Celebrate occasions, big and small. These celebrations don't have to be big deals, a cake and coffee to celebrate a birthday, or because it's Friday and you simply love being together. Keep your spouse guessing. Keeping your spouse on their toes can go a long way. One day I asked my husband what he thought the secret to our marriage was, says G. A quiet man of little words, he said, I never know what you are going to do from one minute to the next, and I find I like that. Having an amazing life can keep both partners interested, but outside the confines of the bedroom is equally important. It's spending time together without outside distractions, cell phones, televisions, that sort of thing. Perform small gestures of kindness on a regular basis. Over time, many people get so used to their partners being around that they no longer feel the need to perform those little acts of kindness, like pulling out chairs, holding an umbrella for one another, or tackling a chore just so their significant other doesn't have to. No matter how long we have been married, my husband holding doors open for me makes me feel special, says G. Have a daily mealtime check-in. Sharing at least one daily device-free meal can make all the difference when it comes to the health of your relationship. We have always tried to eat at least one meal together daily, says G. As a working couple, before both retiring, with different work hours, it's typically dinner. Not only do we enjoy a meal together, but we also use this time to talk about our day. And make dinner at home a special occasion. Even if you're just heating up last night's leftovers, you can make meals with your spouse feel like a special occasion every night of the week. Light some candles, open a bottle of good wine, or put on a romantic playlist to set the mood. Casseroles more often than not are served in our dining room on good china, says G. I plan trips where he only has to pack his bag, G says. Being thankful can help put things into perspective, keeping you and your spouse from spiraling into despair just because things aren't going the way you expected. But, she adds, if one or both of us feels that we are too upset to discuss an issue in a sane and respectful way, we give ourselves some time to cool down. Learn to really apologize. Saying I'm sorry does not have to mean I was wrong, Kitchen points out. It can refer to being sorry for hurting feelings, shouting, anything. This allows you to put hurt feelings aside and go on without one person being right and the other wrong. Say no to distractions when you're communicating with one another. Having a few activities you both love can mean the difference between decades of marital bliss and seemingly endless strife. But remember that opposites attract. Thanks for watching. Kindly subscribe to this channel.